Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you will receive alerts when there are new episodes. Go get it.
That's what I tell them. I've been grinding for so long, I wake up and chase my goals. I go out and I go get it. Hot or cold, that's all I know. I don't succeed, then I don't breathe. Success, what does it mean? If I conquer all my goals, then I'm living out my dream. Dig deep, go out and get it. Success Chronicles, compete until it's finished. Success Chronicles, go take care of your business. Success Chronicles, it's deeper than just winning. Success Chronicles.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chip Baker coming to you with another episode of the Success Chronicles, and I am truly excited to have Dr. Moreno on with us, an amazing lady that has achieved some really neat things and doing lots to make a positive difference in our world. So I'm truly excited to have her on and highlight her. So, Doc, thanks so much for taking the time to hang out and be interviewed on the Success Chronicles.
I am so happy to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me. And I'm just looking forward to this conversation.
Let's go. Well, no, I know off air we talked about man, all the amazing places you've been. So cool, all of the things that you've been blessed to do and achieve and start, trendsetter and those kind of things. But if you don't mind, just kind of sharing, a little bit about your journey with the audience so they have an idea of who you are and what it is you do.
Well, great. Thank you. Thank you again for having me on the show.
Yeah.
So again, my name is Dr. Moreno, and I have been the amazing principal of a fabulous school in the Houston area for newcomers, and I'm talking exclusively newcomers. It all started back in the day when I was a teacher in a school with 72 countries represented, speaking 42 languages. I was a young teacher. I was like 21, 22 at the time. And I had all of these students from all over the world. And so I was just fascinated. I was just fascinated with, the kids, the culture, the language, the traditions. It was just, to me, I come from a small town in Edinburgh, Texas, where I only saw, for the most part, Hispanic students, right? So Hispanic families. So going into Houston, Texas, and working in this very, very diverse school opened my eyes. I was like, wow, look at everything that's going on. I lived under a rock, right? And so fast forward, I became a principal of a school that was predominantly overaged middle school students. Think about those 17-year-olds in seventh grade, right? And it's like, what? That's crazy.
Yeah.
So I became a principal of that school. Slowly but surely, I started getting students coming in from Iraq and Afghanistan and Sudan and Congo. So I knew I had to do something different, right? And as the principal, I wanted to be the best in working with newly arrived immigrants and refugees. So then I started traveling and looking at best practices from around the country. I went to Fairfax, Virginia, St. Paul, Minnesota, Brooklyn, New York, got those best practices from what the research was taking me to. And I cleaned the slate and I opened up Las Americas Newcomer School. And let me tell you, we wanted to do it big and great and fabulous, research-based, everything. Fast forward, this was back in 2005. The school was extremely successful. Just Google it and you'll find all the great things that we had there. We even had the United Nations High Commissioner of Refugees come and see us. I would be like, oh, the Pope is coming. The Pope is coming. Here I am. I was so excited because I had the woman who's in charge of all refugees around the world come and visit our school. So one of the things that I decided to do is be the best principal, which required me to understand more about culture and language and traditions and, everything that comes along with what students bring to us at the school. So I decided to travel. My first school I went to ever was a school in Tel Aviv, Israel. It's called the Hand in Hand School. It's called the Hand, and there was like a little symbol of hand in hand, where half of the students were Palestinians, the other half of the students were Israelis, right? And so they went to school together, and they learned together. It was an amazing school. And I was like, wow, this is so amazing. Of course, I went to Jerusalem and all the other places as well. That was my springboard. I now have traveled to 13 other countries. My latest one was Honduras. The time before that was Cuba. And the time before that was Tanzania. And so all of these places, what I do is I gather a lot of the best practices. How do they learn? What's going on in the classrooms? Talk to the teachers. Because to me, we as educators here in America have to build those relationships so fast, right? Because we only have a short amount of time with our kids. How do we build those relationships in a way that we can then better serve our kids? So one of the things that I do now, because I'm a consultant and now I no longer am a principal, I was there for 20 years working as a principal
Mm,
of a Newcomer campus. Now I travel the country, visiting schools, helping and supporting teachers, educators, administrators, open up a newcomer school, adapting to something they may or may not have, or really just supporting them in regular classrooms, whatever the situation may be. But then I tell my teachers the stories of places I've seen, I've heard, I've observed, so that when teachers are working with these specific students, they can easily say, oh my goodness, I know in Honduras, you guys eat a lot of baleadas, right? A lot of baleadas. And the kids would just open their eyes like, how do you know what I eat, right? Or going to Cuba, I learned about a lot of the students there, how food is so scarce to the point where
mhm.
everything is rationed. So
Yeah.
when you start kind of sharing some of these stories with the kids, they stop and think, she knows my struggles. She understands my background. She she may not have gone there, but she can then relate to my struggles because kids are not going to share this information with you unless you kind of provide them some background that you know about their struggles when they'll then start kind of opening up a little bit because they feel like that connection. So that's what I do now. I am hopeful everything goes well. I want to go to Afghanistan in September 2025 because I have a lot of Afghani students that I work with, and I don't know anything about Afghani life, their struggles, and I know it's a dangerous place, but I want to make sure I'm safe as well. So I postponed my trip. I'm going with another friend of mine. We postponed
Mhm.
it. We were supposed to go this September, but due to all of the political stuff that's going on with our elections, we just kind of pushed it off another year. And hopefully in September. So we will chat again, sir, in a later date so that you can hear all about my trip to Afghanistan.
Hey, I'm glad we figured that out. We got that all planned, didn't we just now? Well,
Oh my goodness. My kids even say, they're like, Mom, do you really want to do this? And I was like, honey, I'm telling you, I kind of feel like, everything has God's plan in it,
oh
right?
yeah,
If
for
God
sure.
really wants me to go, I had the
Yeah.
opportunity one time to go to North Korea. There was a little trip going out to North Korea, and I was so on it. I was like, yes, I want to go. I want to learn a little bit about that. And then something happened to that trip and it didn't happen. And so I didn't go. So I'm glad. I mean, things just kind of fall in its place. I just
Hmm.
have to kind of rely on God, and God knows the work that I do. I constantly, I'm here in South Texas right now, working close to the border of Mexico. I was just at the southern border on the Mexico side. There's thousands of refugees waiting for their asylum cases
Mm,
to
yeah.
come into the United States. So I had the opportunity to work with Practice Mercy Foundation to go into these refugee camps. And it's getting cold now in Texas. And many of our families and our kids have never experienced the winter. So I brought jackets and hats and hoodies and gloves for our families down there. And we are working on Christmas at the border in December to help bring Christmas and joy and happiness for a lot of the the babies, the children that are on these refugee camps because there is no schooling there. So, I'm going to take crayons and flashcards and just providing a little love. So that's the kind of stuff that I absolutely love to do. So I figure, God knows what I'm doing. I am certainly not Angelina Jolie. Okay, we'll make that very clear. So I don't have all the money in the world. But what I do have is my heart and my love
Yeah.
for my kids, especially the ones that are trying to flee danger in their home countries and looking for a better life.
Awesome. Well, what are three things you've accomplished in your life that you're proud of?
The first thing I would probably say is my family. You know, I have two boys, 21 and 30, and I absolutely adore my kids. Not because I raised such beautiful boys, but because they're independent, sir. That's why.
There you go. There you
So
go.
I would probably say, I love the fact that I feel that, God has given me two great, amazing children that now live on their own, have their own, households, and are making good wages for them to kind of take care of themselves. They haven't asked me for any money, which is a good thing,
Yeah.
because you know how kids are sometimes. So I'm very fortunate and very happy to say that I have two young, amazing men now that are doing great work in on their own. The second thing I would probably say is establishing and creating my newcomer school. I
Mhm.
can't tell you how hard is it not only to just create a school like this, but to maintain it for many, many years. I was there for almost 20 years. Who is a principal for 20 years at the same campus? I don't know if there's very few principals that do something like that. And I've been told before when I was there for many years, why do you stay here for so long? And I would say every year is a different year. I had
Yeah.
a blind deaf refugee from Syria. Everything that we know about newcomers, turn and talk to your partner, visuals, gestures, all of that was out the window. She was blind and
Yeah.
she was deaf,
Yeah.
um, so I had stories after stories after stories. So I just absolutely love that. When I had hundreds, and when I tell you hundreds of districts come and visit us, I knew that I had a gem that I had to continue working because it was a model that
Hmm.
many people needed to see for them to go back and implement. I can't tell you how many people say, I got to see what it looks like before I can actually create a school. So it's important to have a model so people can replicate it. And today I have 7 newcomer campuses across the country that use my little blueprint on a little flash drive to open up schools that look like Las Americas. And I would say the last thing is, opening up my newcomer consulting company. It was scary. I mean, anybody out there can probably tell you that opening up a company is daunting. It's scary. It's unknown. I've never been an entrepreneur on my own. I've never been a CEO of anything. I've always been an educator, an administrator, and someone always told me what to do. And now, being my own boss, I think I work harder,
Oh yeah,
longer,
for sure.
and I have a whole new set of standards that I need to hold myself up to because it is difficult to be, a young Hispanic woman who is trying to kind of navigate not only the business side, but also the education side. I got the education side. I'm still trying to, navigate sometimes the business side because my company is only 2 years old. But I'm still working my hardest. I think I put so many more hours than I had put in any other job that I can think of. But I absolutely love what I do, simply because I have like little survey at the end um, of every session that I do, and most of um, my my feedback is, oh my God, I love the stories that you tell us. I love how do we connect with kids a lot faster.
Yeah.
I love your energy. I love your, and they just go on and on and on and on. So I just absolutely love the fact that now I'm able to help educators in a different way, right? So I can better support them and really tailor it to support their needs. My newcomer school is very different from other newcomer schools in other places because the needs are different. And so
Yeah.
how do we then support and work with educators that way? I'm a principal, I'm an administrator. So I'm able to work with superintendents and work with assistant superintendents and principals at a level that I can understand. I understand accountability. I understand, holding up standards and being ethical and making sure that you follow federal law because we need the funding to go with it, things like that. And so I think that's what kind of makes me a little unique as well.
So good. Well, just hearing you discuss your amazing journey, hearing you discuss the things that you're proud of, I would consider that to be hugely successful. So let's hit on success. What is your definition of success?
Whew. Okay, well, my success to me is contributing to the causes that I care about, right? I kind of feel like I can't say that I'm successful if I don't have something to show for it. It's kind of like leadership. I tell people, in order for you to be a leader, you have to kind of have a group, a following of people, something that you say and do inspire people to say, wow, I want to be like her. I want to do what she does. So success to me, it's all about looking at a cause that you care about. And for me, it's working with newcomers, working with immigrants. My mom recently passed away about 2 years ago. And I never knew why I was so inspired to work with newcomers until after, you have to start going through your parents' stuff,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and looking at documents and whatnot. My father died when I was 10 years old. I was my father's favorite, even though there's no such thing as having a favorite, but that's not true because I was my daddy's favorite. Anyways, um, um, I was looking, I found some letters of my dad writing to the government and how he wanted to sponsor these particular people in helping them get their visas or their citizenship because he was, supporting them and giving them a job. I was looking and I was bawling. I was just crying. I was like, oh my God, my dad did so much work with newcomers and working with trying to get people um, jobs so that they can stay in America. And this was back in the 60s. This thing was written back in 1964 or something, before I was born. So I was just inspired by, wow, this is amazing. So for me, again, success is it's constantly changing, right? Based on the journey, based on your situation. So I always feel like success is something that I'm always striving to gain, even
Hmm.
though I kind of feel I felt success before. I'm never done because there's always more to do and more to accomplish and more to change and more to succeed, right? So I kind of feel like, it's not just a one stop, okay, I've made it, yes, it's over. To
Right.
me, it's like we got there, that's great. Now there's still more to do. And so again, just adapting and learning from your own experiences to reach further success in the future.
Man. Well, as we close, I'd love for you to get an opportunity to share with the audience where they can, follow you and check you out with all of the amazing things that you have going on.
Or come with me to Tanzania
Or
because
go
I'm
on some of
taking
these
pictures.
amazing trips that she's taking. And sponsor. There you go.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're definitely interested, and definitely going, I definitely am going to Tanzania in February 2025, and that's really quick. So we'll be finalizing that list. But guess what? I'll be going to Tanzania again. And I may be even going to Guatemala. So, just depending on what people reach out to me and ask, for support. I always, and just so that the audience knows, I'm always there at that particular country first to make sure it's safe, it's okay
Mhm.
to go, where are we going to stay, what are we going to do, there's an itinerary, everything else. I went to Tanzania February 2024. It's safe. If you don't mind seeing a giraffe while you're teaching, we're good, because that's the only thing you're going to see is maybe a giraffe, maybe an elephant, but definitely giraffes. No lions. So I know no one doesn't have to worry about getting eaten by a lion, because in that part of Africa, there's no lions. Further down in Tirangiri National Park, there is lions there. But you
Mhm.
can reach me at Newcomer Success, and it's on my shirt because I just worked earlier today. So I just kind of zoom in. Newcomer Success, all one word, on all platforms: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, um, you name it. It's Newcomer Success, all platforms. I have a lot of videos on Instagram, so you can see a lot of my work there in Uganda, in Tanzania, and was on a refugee camp. So just to kind of know what in the world does that look like, I have a lot of videos on there too. So check it out, follow me,
Yes,
and send
yes.
me a message because I respond to all my messages. So hit me up, and I'll be more than happy to dialogue and chat with everybody out there.
There you go. Well, again, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to interview with the Success Chronicles, and I wish you continued success.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, yeah. And thank you guys for checking out this episode. We'll see you next time. God bless. Go get it.